And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Anytime you're talking about fundamentals in a market and direction, fundamentals take a little bit of time to play out.
We got crude oil today, kind of trading yesterday's value area really nicely, low to high.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Market Recap. Still Wednesday, March the 9th. I'm John Hoagland. Thanks for trusting me with your time. Yet another fascinating day in the markets. Hopefully things went okay for you. This morning coming up, it seemed like there was a lot of hope of some changes in the war between, Russia has on Ukraine. Lots of conflicting information today. Did not see any real glimmers of hope, at least not yet. We're continuing to pray and to hope for some glimmers of hope from that. But it didn't change the direction of the markets today. The crude oil, that emotional upside that I've been saying is kind of hollow, really took it on the chin today. That emotional upside met its end as that hollow rally finds an end, an abrupt end, at least for the time being. The ES and the NASDAQ closed up almost 3.5%. S&P's closed up almost 2.5%. You know, those hopes for peace talks, I think, really trapped a whole bunch of shorts. We've been gaining a whole lot of open interest on the down days in the S&Ps, and just a little glimmer of hope was enough to squeeze a lot of those shorts out of the marketplace. It was the first up day in four sessions, and the biggest up day that I can see in weeks. Gold, the drop in open interest yesterday that we were noticing this morning on the market forecast was enough to cause a change in direction, at least for now. Still closes above an important inflection level. The 6E, the dollar, down 1% today against the euro. And the euro stuffs shorts today. Now, instead of the euro getting smushed, it was those that were short the euro that got smushed. And by the way, that is an industry term. The 10-year price accepts below the weekly kickoff low as rates creep back towards 2% on the 10-year, and the nat gas prices idled, seemingly looking for new information, and may get that information tomorrow when the EIA announces the natural gas inventories tomorrow. I think that's at 9:30, Thursday, 9:30. I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah, it was a pretty nice rip today, wasn't it, JD? Good afternoon, Spencer, Tachyon, Scott Saw, and he maybe didn't conquer today, but tomorrow is another day. Scott, don't get disheartened. Bill, good afternoon. Vince, another day at the war. George, good afternoon. Haven't seen you in a while, George. Hope things are going well. Denise, good to see you. Bill, Aaron, good to see you. Dan Emmons, opening range breakdown, early reversed, and then a grind up all day. Had me fooled for a bit, but played it small and profitable. Good. Way to go. Just trade what you see, Dan. Question for you. Let's say you were short crude and very profitable today. Would you break a rule if you held the short and it neared a limit? Well, the crude limits are dynamic. In other words, once crude hit the skids to the downside, it was already down considerably. So it's very difficult to know where that limit is. So it's hard for us to be able to gauge how close we get to that. That's one of the things about crude oil that is difficult to gauge as far as the limits are concerned. I don't think if you were in it today that you would be hit for a rule break. because that dynamic limit is difficult to keep a handle on. I'm hoping that I'm right on that. Good afternoon, Nicholas, Sean, Kyle. Stayed green by very little. Didn't like the trend higher days. Need more back and forth for me. More of a range trader, I guess, Kyle. Well, those days will be coming. Maybe tomorrow will provide more flushes with the SPI. Jay Crockett, good afternoon. Kyle, CPI, you mean? Okay. Yeah, we do have CPI coming out tomorrow, so we'll see. Kenny Powell, what's up? Grind up day? Well, it was a pretty good grind up day. We had some negative delta throughout the day in the S&Ps, which kind of led me to believe we had some traps short. Going to be looking for a loss in open interest in the S&Ps tomorrow morning. That would verify that the buyers that we did have in the S&Ps today were more trapped shorts than new longs. We'll see that tomorrow morning. George, good. I'm glad you're doing well. Is there a way to have a practice account around while I wait for the pro funded account to open? That's a good question. Something I would call or email our excellent support department about. Rusty Golfer, missed my best entry and watched the chop rest of the day. That's okay. At least you didn't have too many divots. Nicholas, I was curious, how much were the daily margins for the S&P when it was traded in the pit? Well, it depended a little bit on the volatility and a little bit about the nominal value of the contract. So the higher the nominal value of the contract, the higher the margin went. And to add volatility to that, sometimes you'd get a big spike in margin. It's a good question. Charles, question. When it's low volume, is there a way to trade these days, or is it just best to sit on your hands? Just curious on your thoughts. Well, low volume, I mean, there's lots of ways to answer this question, Charles. You know, if you're in a directional market and volume is slowing as price continues in one direction, it's pretty good signal sometimes that there may be a change in direction. Sometimes when it's low volume, it may just be a day before an important event or release. And there still can be opportunities. Just manage your expectations. Jay Crockett, my crude is yellowed out, so we can't trade it in the combine. You can trade it in the combine. You just have to enable the real-time information. You're getting delayed information. You have to go to your dashboard and go to enabling the different exchanges and enable the crude oil. The NYMEX is the exchange you're looking for. Ahmad Zorain, good afternoon, Bill. I think you'd have a practice account if you signed up using a different email account. That's one thing that is true. Cash is a position, definitely, Rusty Golfer. Aaron, we should 100% have a Pit Stories with Hogue segment in the future. We can do that, Aaron. We can do that. We got a couple other folks that would like to be in on that for sure with the company. The big S&P contract was no joke. No, it was not. And if you think about it, I forget what year it was, they split the contract. So the nominal value of the S&P contract before the split was the price times 500. There were 20 ticks per handle. Each tick was $25. Then they split the contract. Then they made it 10 ticks per handle. So instead of trading in nickels, we traded in dimes. It was still $25 ticks, but they halved the nominal value of the S&Ps. So you think about it, the nominal value of the ES is the price times 50. The big S&Ps now would be the price times 250, And the big S&P before the split would be the price times 500. So there was a lot of money being thrown around. Yeah, if you're in the wrong contract, you should be in April crude till next week. It's a good point, Dan. Thank you. Tachyon, good day today on a streak already this week. Need to focus tomorrow. Yes, you would need to focus tomorrow. Last thing you want to do is ruin a good day or a good trading combine just because you want to try and keep that streak alive. If you've had a good week, good day, sometimes with our funded traders, we'll have our funded traders that will have a really good day one day, and we know that they're at risk the next day. Some of our traders that have their best day follow that with one of their worst days. So keep your feet on the ground, Tachyon. Start tomorrow from zero. So my best suggestion. Forget what you've done so far this week. Tomorrow you start from zero. Harry J. Crockett. Good afternoon, Charles. Thanks for the answer, John. I traded in the ES demo account today, and like I would a normal day, and got wrecked looking for the reversal. I struggled jumping in the trend. I also struggle jumping in the trend, but you may want to think about, if you're on TS Trader, go find the Tiki cumulative delta, because delta was creeping lower. In other words, price was moving against the more aggressive traders today, and that's usually a sign that there's somebody else behind the scenes scooping up everything they can scoop up. Never admit to a streak. Absolutely. Yeah, big S&Ps. There was a lot of money, man. Norman loves the pit stories. Yeah, we'll see if we can arrange something like that. That would be a lot of fun. All right, Sean. Past step 2 and the pro account. Now you're getting into the funded account. Good. Be patient. Just dance with the one you brung. Looking forward to your success, Sean. Is the TS Trader web-based? There is a web-based version and a desktop version. So if you're using Apple, you can use the web version. D, can you please give some advice to new futures traders? I'll give you some of the advice that futures traders gave me on my first day. Most important, learn how to take a loss. Most of us aren't wired to do that. Most of us are wired to try and fight losses at any time, anything we can do. We're usually going to, at first, default to, well, I'll just wait. The market will come back, and usually that ends up creating bigger and bigger losses. Remember that those big losses are hard to make back. The other side of that coin is when we have a winning trade on, it's very tempting to take those winning trades. You're going to find yourself cutting winning trades and letting losing trades run. Wrong way to do things. Professional, do things the opposite. Recognize when you're wrong. Take the loss and move on. Nicholas, mostly just wondering what would have taken to trade a one lot in the 80s or the 90s. Well, Nicholas, if you're going to trade in the S&Ps in the 80s or the 90s, you were going to have to either buy a seat or lease a seat. Depending on the amount of opportunities that were available at the time, the seats could be anywhere from $500 a month to $3,000 a month to lease. To buy it anywhere from $50,000 to $250,000. Once you have the seat, then you've got to put money up to trade with. Most clearing firms wanted a $50,000 T-bill that was was supposed to remain in your account to protect them against any major losses that you might incur. And then you'd have to put money in your account on top of that. So really, if you were looking at a legitimate chance in the trading pit, trading the big S&Ps, You're looking at, it was, I think, $1,200 to apply for a membership. Then you got to find a seat and lease it. Let's say it's $1,000 a month to lease it. Then you got your $50,000 T-bill that just has to sit in your account, and then you've got to put money into trade with. Let's say another $50,000. So in order to trade on the trading floor, there was a very high barrier to entry. Most people wouldn't be able to afford that. And in meats and some of the other products, it was even worse. The full membership at the Mercantile Exchange was up above $1 million at one point to buy it. To lease it, you were looking at $2,000 to $5,000 a month. So you had some pretty high overhead, and then you were going to have to put the money to trade up as well as the money to protect your clearing firm in case you were doing, unless you did something to blow up. So it was a very expensive way to get into the industry. So, there were a lot of people that worked very hard and saved a lot of money, and a lot of people that got to know people and had somebody that believed in them to back them. Then there were the people that came into the exchange already rich. And then there were the kids that wanted to be a trader but didn't want to do the hard work, got money from their parents, and they didn't tend to stick around very long. But there were a couple of people in the S&P pit who came from old money. Like they could go into the trading pit and lose $5 million, and it wasn't going to change their lifestyle. And, the couple that I'm thinking of turned out to be very good traders because they never had to worry about making money in it. It was easier because you didn't have to worry about making money at it. All right. So, all right, we're kind of off on a tangent here. You guys had some really interesting and good questions. Do we still want to take a look at the charts? Yeah, JD is right. It wasn't uncommon to take out bank loans to buy seats on the exchange. How could you not? Unless you've got $1 million laying around to put down on a seat. JD, what would you say? What percentage of locals succeeded? Denise, good. I'm glad. Consider those fees versus people complaining about a trading combine, right? Never saw the pits. Nick, you were a bike messenger going to and from the CME and the Chicago Board of Trade 2007, 2008 for Aero Messenger. I have to wonder what was in some of those packages going back and forth between the exchanges. Yeah. Well, once electronic trading started, the barrier to entry did come down a lot lower. You didn't have to buy a seat. You still had to pay higher commissions than somebody who had trading rights. And now it's get a seat or open an account, get a trading platform that you like. Yeah, locals would definitely come and go. Yeah, there were the ones that really learned to trade that were there for the long haul. It's the ones that just kind of glommed onto a broker and no, none of your business, Nicholas, right? There were people that really learned how to trade. Those locals had some staying power. Then there were the locals that just tried to suck up to the brokers and try and get breaks and get favors from filling brokers, and those guys didn't usually last very long. And there were ebbs and flows to the markets as well. Like after '87, the S&P pit was very quiet. There wasn't a lot of paper coming into the pit. It was a tough time, and if you learned how to trade during that period of time, when things got busier, you had a much better chance of finding some longevity in the markets. Yeah, leaning on paper in the pit was an art form. Yep, you got it. It's because, let's say I'm standing in front of JD and he's a broker and he's got 100 to sell at even. Well, I can stand in front of JD and I can sell 95s I can sell 50 of them. And if I keep offering 95s, he can't even show his even offer. So if I'm selling 95s and it doesn't look like the market's going to head lower, I can turn around and I can say, buy 50. And John could say, here's 50. But I know exactly where I'm going to go with that. And if I don't want to lean on the order, I can just turn around. I can just wait for somebody else to go for it and see if I can get it before it turns bid. Maybe I can get a piece of that 100 lot. But now we can't do that. We don't know that there is 100 contracts behind any of these offers. We don't know where the ICE orders are going to be. If we can spot them, we can help. We can help. But still, we don't have that ability to lean on the paper that we know is there. The broker behind me says 100 at even. I can start offering 95s. I can sell 50 of them because I know JD behind me, and he's going to see me do that, and he's going to be there for me. If somebody yells buy him and I go buy 50, he's going to go 50 and 50. And I'm going to say 50. I'm going to lose 50 ticks on it. But if I sell 50 at 95 and it goes 75 offer, 70 offer, 65 offer, I'm making big money. See, we got a whole day of we're telling stories about the pit already. Holding a position over the weekend, not possible to place a limit order to buy or sell over the weekend when the market is closed. So once the market opens again, it will be live using Trade-Evade. Yeah, we can't hold positions overnight or over the weekend. Yeah, Dan, Ben Lichtenstein, Traders Audio. He was standing high above the S&P pit, and he would just talk about the orders that were coming into the pit. Goldman just sold 100. Goldman just sold another 100. Goldman just sold another 100. We got Morgan selling them now. We got Morgan selling 100. The locals are getting long here with all the paper coming in. It was a very interesting period of time. Ben Lichtenstein's an old acquaintance of mine on the trading floor. The role of locals, it's like us. The role of the locals was to make markets, was to to take the other side of the orders that were coming into the trading pit. They were trading their own money, and they were the only people that were in the trading pit trading their own money. Some of the brokers were of course as well, but it's not like there was a whole community of electronic traders out there able to execute their own orders like we are. If we weren't on the trading floor, we would have to pick up an old phone and say, "Hey, where are the S&Ps now? Okay, they're 8.15, 8 quarter offer. All right, bid 20 for one." And whoever's on the phone would say, "Hey, bid 20 for a one lot, 20 for a one lot, work it." So then the broker would bid 20 for one, and if he got filled, he would tell his clerk would tell the guy on the phone would tell me, "Hey, you're filled, you paid 20 on one." Okay, thanks. Now we just go, bink. Gordon remembers Traders Audio. There you go. So, all right. We're about 25 minutes into the recap. Let's recap the charts. Okay, there's the daily for crude. Let's take a look. Alrighty, so been watching open interest. Been watching this whole pop to the upside, which is very emotional, but not much behind it. We've been losing open interest. We haven't been bringing in volume. This whole auction process to the upside has been hollow. I should have been much more prepared for a crack in the eggshell here, like it happened today, because the market just was not supported by open interest, by technicals. None of it was supported. So the first chance we had for a possible good outcome, or at least not as bad an outcome of this war, this market fell apart. It fell apart. Looking at this morning, let me get my handy dandy little notes out here. Okay, we have been losing open interest for 5 days. How much open interest had we been losing? In the last 5 days of trading on the way up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The open interest was right around 2 million contracts. In those 5 days alone, we lost almost 200,000 contracts in open interest. That's not a healthy auction. This is all emotion and hollow. It doesn't surprise me that this market turned and traded all the way back to weekly kickoff low. Here's where we started to gain open interest. Right back to that level is where this market came to. I should have been ready for this. I should have been so all over this. We don't know what's going to happen. Take a look at the 30-minute chart here. I could have been a contender today. Instead, I got a one-way ticket to Palookaville. Name that film. So we are already open with a bit of a gap. We pretty much closed the gap. If we did, if we didn't, it's moot now. Market opens, flops around, and then bam. Something came out. I think they were talking to Iraq. They were talking to Venezuela. They were talking to anybody they could buy some crude oil from. They're like junkies. Well, apparently something happened, and bow. There we go. Weekly kickoff low is 104.20. 103.63 is where the market went to. Do you think that there was some illiquidity that let that market go a little bit too far? Anybody name the film yet? Anybody know? Hey, my brother Rick is here. Good to see you. Yeah, Anthony's got some good pitch stories as well. We got Max Keenan. Pax also has some good pitch stories. So what do we do? Well, you're going to see what kind of open interest change we got. If we brought in new business to the downside, this is the hollow move that we put up. Very good. Eric wins the prize on the waterfront. All this was a hollow, no open interest, losing open interest. As a matter of fact, 10% of the entire open interest of all of the contracts. Maybe there's a little bit of the fact that we're coming into rollover in that fact, but that's a big drop in open interest on a big move to the upside like this. This was all emotion, no substance. S&Ps. We did it to the S&Ps too. We got our short time. We got our traders way too short in the hole down here. We added a whole bunch of open interest for 3 days straight on a big move to the downside. All it took was a hint of good news and whammo. That is, if you were wondering, also an industry term. 30-minute chart. So here's the delta that we're talking about. We found overnight inventory to the long side. There's always the possibility that the market is going to scare out all of these short time frame longs from the overnight. All they really did, I think, was put pressure on shorts that have been bailing into this move to the downside over the last couple of days. The market opens, a feeble attempt to go back and scare some of our overnight longs out of the market. But when the market opens, instantly we see negative delta, orders being executed on the bid. More aggressive sellers should be pushing price lower, and the opposite occurred. Could this be new longs coming into the market? Very possibly. I'm thinking it's more a lot of the shorts that were stuck down here just trying to eke their way out of those shorts without pushing price too much, just putting in bids and refilling them, putting in bids, and as soon as they're executed, they're replaced, putting in bids and doing it over and over again so that they can squeak their way out of those shorts as much as possible without pushing price too much. It'd be interesting to see open interest tomorrow morning. If there's a drop in open interest, then it's going to verify, I guess, if we can verify anything, the fact that we got too short, a little bit of good news squeezed all those shorts out. If we had open interest on the way up, it may be interesting to see if we've put in a short time frame low. Could it be? I mean, there's still information that's coming out, headline news, almost minute to minute. Is this going to be the low? Nobody knows. Similar situation here in the NASDAQ. Too short in the hole down here. Here's the 30. I don't have the, I thought I put the profile on here. I don't have the delta on here. The delta was not as deep as it was in the S&Ps. There was negative delta, but it wasn't as great, I don't think, as it was in the S&Ps. Still believe we just kind of held some shorts down here, and we squeezed them out throughout the day today. Gold. What happened to my gold? Oh, my goodness. This auction to the upside was good. Look at the volume. Open interest increasing on higher volume, higher price, higher volume, higher open interest is a healthy auction. We didn't really break that structure today, but we had a tough day. Here's the 30-minute. All right, 1992.50 is weekly kickoff low. I thought I put all these profiles on here. I don't know what happened, but I'll put them on. Don't mean to waste your time. By the time we opened, we had a lot of shorts in this market, but really we just consolidated here at the weekly kickoff level. Now, something very important happening here, and this could be something that longs aren't going to be real happy to hear about. We gapped up to yesterday's range. We gapped down and didn't close the gap today. This creates an island top. This can be a powerful reversal signal. I don't think that we did too bad today, but this scares me a little bit if I'm long. Island top, gap to it, gap away from it. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll have to see what happens tonight and tomorrow. Oh, forgot one thing. What did Delta do today? Nada. By the time this market opened, people were comfortable with this level. Weekly kickoff, a little bit magnetic, trading both sides of it. Chop shop. Not a very good trading day. Here's the shorts in the euro getting smushed. We lost 4,000 yesterday, but we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, one time framing lower, increasing open interest, taking price down to and accepting through a close below weekly kickoff low yesterday. We took that back. Dollar a little weaker today. A lot of shorts in this market took it on the chin. Here's our day yesterday, not piercing weekly kickoff low after closing below it on Monday. Tuesday, found it supportive. Buyers, Those buyers, short time frame, new longs coming in, got what they were looking for. Whoa, 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 hey, whoa, whoa, hey. I hate this. So, what did our delta do today? Opposite direction. We had a delta divergence again here today. Is this going to present the fact that this may be new longs, or is this old shorts? Old shorts running for the hills. We tested back to this naked point of control. Let's take that off. We have a double distribution trend day today in the euro. High volume node, high volume node. We open between it. We may start tomorrow in a little bit of repair. Tomorrow, again, we have CPI coming up, probably the most important release for the week. Take a look at the 10-year. Continuation to the downside as the yield continues to creep back towards 2%. Here's the 30-minute. You got to get the right one up here. Here it is. So we broke out below weekly kickoff low. We held below weekly kickoff low. We closed below weekly kickoff low. How is the volume? Not great. We have to see if we added some open interest. The dud of the day today was the natural gas. Here's the daily. We settled right about here. We'd never even left settlement today. Very narrow range. Waiting for EIA tomorrow, probably a pretty good thought. Look at this. Settlement, just spanning both sides of settlement, not going anywhere. Only funny thing I do find interesting, we actually had negative delta in a sideways market. Does that mean buyers were present here today? Wouldn't surprise me. We're getting pretty cheap, pretty close to weekly kickoff low. My brother agreeing, gold was overbought. Correction was due. We were talking about that yesterday, Rick. What do you think? Are we due for a pullback? Maybe. I was thinking maybe later in the week, but I wasn't looking at a market state breaking event, which I don't think we had today. All right. So what happened on this day in history? We like these. If anybody had a sister, you know what a Barbie doll is. On March 9th, 1959, the first Barbie doll goes on display at the American Toy Fair. A lot of Barbie dolls out there. What else happened today? 1979, a lawsuit prompts the Major League Baseball to allow locker room access to female reporters. I'm actually old enough to remember that. Why would they want to be in there? 1996, on this day, comedian George Burns dies at 11. 100 years old. 100 years old. 1997, rapper Notorious B.I.G. is killed in Los Angeles. He was 24 years old on this date in 1997. In 1985, you see those Adopt a Highway signs all over the place. 1985, on this date, the first Adopt a Highway sign was erected on a Texas highway. What about in music? 1964, today, the last day of train scenes for the movie A Hard Day's Night. During their 6 days of filming aboard a moving train, the Beatles traveled a total of 2,500 miles on the rails. If you guys remember Mickey Gilley, today's his birthday. He was born in 1936. Today's Robin Trower's birthday. Rick, I know you know Robin Trower. He was born in 1945, just after you, Rick. He was also in the band Procol Harum, they had the number one single, A Whiter Shade of Pale, in 1967. 1971, Led Zeppelin appeared at Leeds University, Leeds, England, during their Back to the Clubs tour. It was the first tour which saw Led Zeppelin performing Stairway to Heaven, Black Dog, and Going to California. Get this, in 1975, actor Telly Savalas was number one on the UK singles chart with his version of David Gates. If you know David Gates, he's from the band Bread, song If. If a picture paints 1,000 words, then why can't I paint you? He was also currently high in the TV ratings with his police show Kojak. If you guys remember that, Telly Savalas, the bald guy, always had a lollipop. I guess he was a singer too. 1985, REO Speedwagon started a 3-week run at number one on the U.S. singles chart with Can't Fight This Feeling. There's another one here. 2007, this is a sad one. Brad Delp was the lead singer for Boston. He died that day of his own hand. I remember that was very sad. I had a neighbor who was a really good singer, was a big fan of Brad Delp. And that's about all I know. That's about all I know. Bridge of Sighs. Yup. It's a great album. You still have that in vinyl too, don't you? I got a bunch of my vinyl up here too. Some of which I don't know what happened to. Maybe there's another box down in the crawl space somewhere. I can't find them. Some of the better albums that I had too. How do you have volume profiles for past days? And he's buying a Stairway to Heaven. They just stay on there. Sometimes I find that I just leave the platform open all week. But if I download the platform, the template, it tends to keep them on there. I know it's not a perfect platform. And then, okay, never mind. Okay, you got it. All right. Well, this has been a long recap. I certainly appreciate everybody hanging out with me for a while. It's always fun to just kind of kick back and unwind a little bit after the trading day. Don't forget, speaking of trading days, tomorrow it's Make Hogue Money Day. How this works is right after the forecast, we're going to meet in this Zoom room. That's your registration. About 8:20, 8:25 we'll be there. We're going to see the S&Ps. We're going to look at the S&Ps. We're going to talk about the S&Ps. I'm going to choose 5 somewhat random people to speak. And they're going to talk about what they're thinking they want to do on the open or sometime after the open. We don't have to take a trade on the open. As a matter of fact, that's a new rule. We don't have to take a trade unless there's a legitimate opportunity. We're going to hear what people have to say. You can discuss trades in the chat room as well. When we come up with one, we're going to vote on it. If the vote is yes, we're going to take the trade. We're going to manage the trade together. We're going to talk about the trade together. And we are going to profit from the trade together because one of the other rules in Make Hogue Money is we're not allowed to take losing trades. So you guys better get it right. Now, last week we had a $300 winner and about a $150 loser in that first half hour of trade. I did pad the account a little bit that day. It was such a good day with the value area special situation play to the downside. I added about $1,000 just in a trade, just to give us a good leg up. It's 150K combine. We are going to trade it in sim, but if we can succeed in it, we're going live. We're going live. We're working together. We're doing this. You guys are the best. Other than that, keep praying. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. Stay kind. And get some good rest because tomorrow promises to be another very interesting and challenging trading day, aren't they all? Blessings to you all. Thanks for hanging out with Old Hogue. We'll see you tomorrow morning on the market forecast, 7:45. Same bat time, same bat channel. Thank you, Rick. Talk to you later.